If you love a tower defense game, but you also love a Tron aesthetic, I think Defentron was probably made just for you. This is a 3D tower defense game with an 80s retro look and feel, and it's one that I thoroughly enjoyed. It plays the tower defense initial base gameplay right to its core, letter for letter, without any kind of bells or whistles, but then it adds in one key twist to the gameplay mechanic that makes Defentron stand out and kind of play a little bit differently to a lot of other tower defense games without you really noticing it to begin with. If you've never played a tower defense game before, and I'm sure there's some out there that have, you have enemies that start on one end of the path and work their way to the other. When they hit that, they damage whatever you've got at the other end of the path, and your job is to strategically place weapons, known as towers, along the path on the places that you can, so that you can defend and keep your kind of CPU core, as it is in Defentron, alive until the end of each round. You're then scored out of 3 stars depending on how much health is left for that CPU core at the end, and you'll continue on to the next level if you survive. In Defentron, there's only about 8ish towers, which I found slightly disappointed initially, and when you place them down, they're kind of the usual tower defense staples. You've got like a turret gun, you've got like an area charge, there's one that slows things down, all different types. And when you place them down, you can upgrade them either by power, rate of fire or radius, and all 3 have their own strengths and weaknesses and come into their own depending on different levels, because different levels will allow you to kind of use those power-ups to your advantage, especially on paths that go back and forth. Radius is something that I've used more in Defentron than I have in quite a lot of other tower defense games, which was interesting. However, the key thing here is that once you place down a tower, you can then select to overload it. And what this does is it gives it a momentary kind of boost of extreme power and speed, like it's having an epileptic fit, and then it will kind of explode and disappear from the screen. Because you've overloaded it with its power, it's gone. It then pays you back some of the power, which is the currency that you use to buy these towers with, but nowhere near at 100% of the actual cost of what you put down. However, it becomes vital that when you're going through the different waves of enemies going through the screen, that you strategically use this overload facility when you've got particularly enemies that recover with health or that have shields that also recover health. Because if you aren't constantly pummeling them with something, they'll regain health quicker than you can take it away, and then they reach the end of the level and then you're like, I didn't really do any damage with them. And because of the way how the towers kind of focus on specific enemies at the front first, that can really hurt how you tackle enemies as they go through the path. What Defentron then does is it stacks enemy waves in a way that makes you have to strategically use that overload facility an awful lot in the second half of its campaign. And what that kind of makes you do is think, do I sacrifice this tower and will it give you the right amount of firepower for you to kind of stave off the rest of that wave's attack and hope that the enough power that you get from killing the enemies, which is like the currency of their death, will then reap the reward back so that you can build something else in the place of what you've just sacrificed. And it's that fine balance that Defentron works with. It's a subtle difference, but particularly in a way how it really runs you, particularly in the second half of campaign mode from World 3 onwards, you really have to think about, am I going to go for it this wave? Or am I going to see if I can cling on and go guns blazing for the next one? And are there enough enemies there for me to recoup my cost of that sacrifice? And I just found it a really interesting twist on things. The game itself took me several hours basically to get through. And some of them I've still not 3-starred, and I don't think I ever will. But this is definitely one of those almost trial and error based tower defense games, because you need to really play around with what tower you're going to overload and sacrifice at what wave to see what really works best for you. If you kind of click with that and you can plough on, you could probably defeat Defentron in about 3-ish hours, but that wasn't for me. It wasn't the case for me, at least. Really like the aesthetics. Really like the synthwave soundtrack, going full in on that 80s vibe. I wish that there was some more levels, or maybe some different, like the same kind of layouts, but like different levels of difficulty. And I would have liked a couple more towers to be thrown into the mix as well. But what here works really well, and that overload feature kind of compensates for quite a lot of the lack of variety, because as I say before, it's down to that strategy of when do I pull the trigger. Defentron is out now on PC. A written review will be over on higherplanegames.com very, very shortly. But yeah, this is another good one to add to your tower defence catalogue, of which I've been growing quite a lot of lately and have been having great fun. So you can take care, catch you again. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.